All right, guys, check out the collection right here. Hope you guys are doing amazing, Dan Watson. And I guess we're doing another camera gear overload. But honestly, what if you're in the market for a brand new camera? You maybe even checked out some reviews, maybe even one of my reviews on this, but you're still unsure because there's so many different options at different price points. I don't know, maybe you just want to see what's new on the market. Whole lot of reasons you could be checking out this video. But one thing for sure, there are so many different cameras, so many amazing cameras, and I want to kind of run you through my favorites in each price point. Some of them I have here, some of them are going to be some surprises on this, but feel free to hit me up in the comments if you guys have any questions on here. Maybe there's a camera I don't mention that you think should be. Go ahead and call that out. Tell me why you like it in the comments below. So let's get started. Here are the best cameras in every price point. So what if you're capped at about $500? And if you've seen my videos before, you might know the answer to this. But honestly, guys, I would just upgrade your phone, or if you already have an upgraded phone, go ahead and use it. There's a couple accessories you might want to buy for it, but other than that, your phone is going to be among the best for a $500 camera. And I actually made a whole video going over why your phones are so amazing and what you would need to do to make other similar price cameras shoot pictures that well. So go ahead and check that out if you're kind of in this category right here. But for most people, the problem with $500 cameras is not that they're bad. I've actually picked up plenty of cameras that cost way less than $500 and shoot with them all the time. The problem is that those cameras tend to have weaknesses. So you need to be able to work around those weaknesses, whether or not it's that you have a big lens collection and can replace the kit lenses with more expensive lenses, whether or not you have the ability to manually focus if the focus system isn't very good. So you just have to know those cameras and work around them. But if you're not somebody who already is in that area, then a phone is going to be probably your best option for about 500 bucks. Now, right around that $1,000 mark, that's where some cameras get really, really cool. And there's two really awesome ones kind of in this sub $2,000 range. The first one is going to be Sony's ZV-1. It's this crazy compact camera right here. The other is the Sony a6100, which I don't have right here, but I do have a full review on it if you want to check that out. Now, these are two very different cameras, but they're priced almost identically, and some big disadvantages and advantages to each of them. So the ZV-1 is a more compact camera on here. It does have a 1-inch sensor in it, which is really cool, but it's built in with the lens, which is what makes this really nice because this is all you need. You don't need to replace lenses. You don't need to buy anything else for it. Also, the lens is about a 24-70 equivalent f1.8 to f2.8, which should be a much wider aperture than you would get with most kit lenses on cameras. And if that doesn't mean anything to you, what it basically means is that you can get more light in the camera, which makes the quality on this very similar to a lot of other cameras with larger sensors and lenses that don't have this wide aperture on this one. So this gets you a very general zoom lens, and this is a very compact camera. So having all of this built into one is great, but you do get a flip screen on this. It is 20 megapixels, 24 frames per second. So don't underestimate this camera right here. Tons of customization on it. Lightning fast autofocus. It's insane on this one. And overall, some of the best image quality you can get with a small sensor camera like this. Now, the Sony a6100 is a little bit larger camera, but it also has a larger sensor in it. And that is essentially going to mean better quality, but there is a catch to that, which we'll kind of get to. So it does have amazing autofocus in this camera, 24 megapixel, tons of customization, features that you would really expect to see in very expensive cameras are on this one. So really awesome. But most importantly, it's interchangeable lenses. So you can eventually upgrade this camera with crazy awesome lenses. Now, if you are using the kit lens, keep in mind, it is about 2 stops slower than this, which essentially means you're going to be getting less light into the camera, which means that the quality between this and the 6100 are actually very similar when paired with the kit lens. However, obviously upgrading the kit lens, the sky is the limit, and the a6100 would become a much better camera. That camera to me is the best entry level camera that you can get, especially if you want interchangeable lenses. The quality on it is great, the features on it are great, and overall it's done extremely well with everything I put it through. Now, both of those cameras are actually pretty good for video. However, if you are more of a video or at least hybrid shooter on there, there's definitely a video you want to check out, and that is going to be going over my favorite cameras in every price point for video. I have it going live any day, so if you don't see it now, stay tuned, subscribe, it should be here soon. However, there is a big difference in a brand new camera out there, so if you're a hybrid or video shooter, definitely go check that one out. Now moving into about $1,500, this one's a bit tricky because in the past, we would see a whole lot of high-end APS-C cameras, and Sony actually makes a higher-end version of the a6100 called the a6600. That kind of fits in that market right there. However, what we have seen in the last few years is a lot of camera manufacturers producing amazing quality full-frame cameras in this price point, missing a few features, but nothing that you really can't live without. And one of these is going to be the Nikon Z5. And it's not a camera I have a whole lot of hands-on time with it, but I would absolutely recommend it. It's basically a baby version of this Nikon Z6 II with essentially the same exact sensor on it, which is absolutely amazing. And overall, it's an extremely high-end camera and very good for the price point. Again, I don't have a full review, but if you watch my Z6 II review, you get a really good impression of the quality of that camera. All right, so right at this $2,000 mark is the sweet spot for cameras that can basically do anything. I don't care if you're shooting weddings, studios, portraits, landscapes, anything. These cameras can handle it. Even pro shooters will have no problem shooting with these cameras. But if you are looking for one, I wanna make sure you guys have an awesome website going on, and I'm talking about built-in scheduling, calendar systems on this, storefronts, so many features in this. And in case you're not, I have a coupon code and a free trial for squarespace.com. So obviously Squarespace makes it crazy easy to build a new site with templates, customizable blocks for adding in new content, and even the ability to search through thousands of images to help you get started. And there are just some insane tools for photographers and videographers, from custom galleries that allow you to password protect them for sharing privately with clients, and the ability to add in e-commerce to be able to sell your products online as well. I was able to upload my camera guide so I could sell them straight through my site in just a matter of minutes. There's also a full scheduling system, so you can actually have your clients sign up directly for their sessions online. So go ahead and check them out, guys. It's completely free to get started. Just use my coupon code LearningCameras when you build something awesome, and you can go live with that site today. All right, so here we are in that $2,000 mark, and this is where things get interesting because I am completely torn right now. Because if you ask me today where the best camera is for $2,000, guess what? It is the Nikon Z6 II. So unless you're shooting sports or wildlife, which are kind of the weaknesses of this camera, I absolutely love this camera. The ergonomics are great. The overall image quality is great. It has some really cool features on it. Video is also amazing on it. And it is overall my favorite camera for $2,000. The problem is the Sony a7 III is still really good and happens to have even better autofocus, despite a few little weaknesses here and there starting to show its age, but it is doing very well still. The problem with the a7 III is I absolutely expect it to be upgraded, but this is a very important camera. It gives you autofocus, it gives you insanely good frame rates, and it does it all for about the same price as the Nikon Z6 II. So between those two cameras right there, while I do give the small advantage to the Nikon Z6 II in most areas on there, don't ignore the a7 III. It is still an amazing camera despite being about 3 years old. Now, if you're moving up into this $3,000 mark, two choices as well. I'm gonna say the Canon R6 is going to be my personal favorite. I absolutely love this camera. It is great overall. The problem with it is it's a little low resolution at 20 megapixels. So if you are somebody who shoots maybe studio or landscapes, instead consider the Sony a7R III. The problem with it's a little bit older, again, a little bit weaker in a few areas for video. However, it does give you that higher resolution sensor, which depending on what you shoot might be a little bit better. But right now, I absolutely love the Canon EOS R6. It might only be 20 megapixels, but the hardware is amazing on this. It has so many features. Autofocus is great. Screen is great. Touchscreen interface is awesome. And it does have pro-end features like dual card slots and things like that if you have to shoot something something really awesome with this thing. You have features like that available. So if I were to pick one camera in this price range, it would be the Canon EOS R6. However, if you are someone who needs a higher resolution sensor, definitely check out the Sony a7 R3 as well. Now, right in the $4,000 mark, this one is going to be super easy. The Canon R5 is just an insanely awesome camera. So not only are you getting 45 megapixels, 12 frames per second, the hardware has been improved. You also have a CF Express card slot on here, amazing flip screen on here, 3.2 inches. And overall, the image quality in this camera is insane. The lens lineup from Canon for this is insane. And just in case you happen to shoot video as well, the video on this camera is absolutely amazing. 8K, 4K, 120, so many features on here, log. This is absolutely my favorite camera. I don't care if you're shooting wildlife, sports, landscapes, studio work, portraits, everything. This camera is the best camera you can get under $4,000, hands down. And honestly, I don't even think anything else is even close. Now, if you are lucky enough to make it to this $5,000 category, there are a few other options. So I actually think the Canon R5 is still very competitive even in this price point. You also have a Sony a9 II, which the main advantage to that one is going to be the fact that it can shoot 20 frames per second with no sound, with electric shutter, and it does it all with amazing autofocus and no viewfinder blackout. So it's a camera that I've kind of stopped thinking about because it's been out for a few years and so many new cameras have come out in this price range. However, it's still great. But what I will say is in the $6,000 mark, you had the Sony A1, which just blows away everything else on the market. 50 megapixels, 30 frames per second, happens to have crazy video features. So if you're a hybrid shooter, wow, that camera is just absolutely insane. And then we do have some brand new models coming out from Canon with the R3, Nikon with the Z9. They should be priced really in this range as well. So if you happen to make it into that $5,000 category, yeah, probably just up your budget a little bit. Right in that $6,000 mark is the sweet spot for just that next level of camera. I should have the Canon R3 and Z9 in my hands really soon that I can show off to you guys. So stay tuned, subscribe if you have not already. Hope you guys are doing amazing. Some really cool stuff coming out. Feel free to let me know if you have any cameras that you love, that you want to see below, video suggestions. Feel free, hit me up in the comments over on IG, anything at Learning Cameras, and I'll see you soon in a new video.